And we're live. I'm just going to do a quick check on YouTube. Yep. Cool. We've got Red and wrist plug and wrist check already watching. So hi, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How was your weekend?
It was good. I went to an antique show, so that was kind of fun. There's always treasures to be found with watches there, so it was a good time.
Did you find anything?
I
Anything
did
interesting?
actually. I said I wasn't going to buy anything, and I bought myself a little something. So, very, very inexpensive watch, but it was right when I was walking out, of course. You know, you say, I'm good, I'm about to walk out the door, and then picked up a little something. So, I'll keep that a secret for now, but it was a fun piece.
Cool. So for the viewers, if you're curious, which watch did she buy? Make sure you're following the wrist check on Instagram. And I think you've got the same handle on YouTube as well.
Yes. Yep. And I do a live show on a different channel, Red and Wrist. So I do that every Monday, do a live stream.
Cool. I think one of the thing that I really liked about your profile and that kind of resonated with me is you said your mission is to stop people like women actually wearing Apple Watches. And I think
Yes.
that's kind of one of my mission as well. I've not written that anywhere. But yeah, I want to stop people wearing Apple Watches, stop calling them watches because they are just computer on your wrist. They're not watches.
I agree 100%. I mean, they're a tool, they have their use for certain things, but when you're getting dressed up, going out, shouldn't be wearing an Apple Watch. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, but I think nowadays you get the G-Shocks that can do your steps and everything. So I would rather wear one of those than wearing an Apple Watch. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Agreed.
Sangeet, if you are using iPhone and Apple colleagues are watching this live, they are going to interfere with your iPhone, you know.
I know my camera's just going to shut off.
I am using my iPhone.
I'm on my MacBook, so I'm everywhere. I've got the iPhone, MacBook. They're coming after me.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, why don't you start by telling us something about yourself, where you're from, and how did you get into sort of watch collecting hobby?
Sure. So I'm from the US. I grew up in the Northeast, and I didn't start getting into watches until I was older. It wasn't a lifelong passion of mine. I started buying watches probably around 2020, 2021. I bought my first watch, and then I didn't go to my first watch event until last October. So I went to Watch Time New York and Wind Up Watch Fair in New York. I was looking for a hobby, something to do. I had been watching YouTube for years and years and really learning a lot about watches on my own, but I never was in the watch community ever. So until this past October, and I went to my first event, and I was hooked. And ever since then, I said, all right, I'm going to start a social media account. I noticed there weren't a lot of women. There are some great ones out there, but it's obviously predominantly men in the hobby. So I thought, let me see if I could do this. And since then, I've been traveling all over, going to watch events, met great people, started a collection very fast. And so that's kind of how I started out.
Yeah, I've seen some of your posts, and you've got some really good watches in your collection.
Thank you.
That's why I wanted to show some of them to the viewers. But before we move on to the next question, what are you wearing today?
I am wearing a 1960s Zenith. It's a gold watch. It has the date. I got this in London, actually, on Portobello Road. and I had no
Lucky time.
a lucky time. Yeah, I got a lucky time. And I love those guys. They're so fun. I had followed them on social media and I was like, I went to Portobello Road just to find them. And I went for a dress watch. And then I saw this, I was with someone, they looked down, they're like, try that on. I was like, I don't know. I put it on and I said, okay, put it in the bag. And it was like an impulse buy, but I love this watch. So.
Cool. That's a really cool
What about
watch.
you? What are you wearing
Cactus,
today?
what are you? I'm wearing my Christopher Ward 12, the one that I
Oh.
posted this morning.
Nice.
Always a
It's
classic.
a titanium watch. Super lightweight. Really impressed.
Very nice.
What about you? What are you wearing?
Guys, for today, I have the Reda Captain Cook, the 39 millimeter green and gold. Maybe I just kind of get closer like this.
Nice. Very nice. Not a bad lineup.
Yeah, some really cool watches.
Since you mentioned about your collection, I know that you have some favorite watches. Maybe we start with your favorite watch, let's say number one. Which watch is it and why is it so special for you?
So I would say my current collection. So collections change over time, things come and go. Right now, I would say it's my Hamilton, actually, which may surprise some people, but I have it with me. I can show you. This is the Hamilton khaki field. So this was my first watch that I ever bought, still on the original NATO strap. I would say that's my favorite right now, and it may surprise people because it's not my most expensive watch, but it is my first watch, and it's what really got me hooked into watches. And I love the military background behind it. There's U.S. military history, and it's very readable. And when I bought this, I actually bought it as a watch to use like in my everyday life when I'm working. So it has the 24-hour time, and the lume is really bright, which I also needed. So it was practical, but I also love the history of the brand. And so I would say right now, like that's a watch I'll never get rid of. And again, not my most expensive one, but I would say it's my favorite in my collection. I wear it on every plane trip I'm on. It's always with me. So.
Cool. And what's number two on your list? And if you tell us the story behind the watch as well.
Sure. So number one was a thought out purchase. I planned it. I researched. This was a complete impulse buy, and normally I'm not like that. So number two would be my Cartier. So this is the Cartier Panthère medium in stainless steel. So very simple Cartier, nothing fancy, no diamonds, not a diamond girl. This was a complete impulse buy, an expensive impulse purchase. So I was actually at a watch meetup, watch community meetup, and I should have gone home instead of staying overnight. And I stood overnight, went to a watch shop in the morning, walked in, they were Cartier AD. I looked down in the case and I was like, I need that. And the saleswoman was so happy. She didn't even have to try to sell it to me. So what drew me to it though was, so people who know me, I like bigger watches. I wear a lot of men's size watches, 40 millimeters. This was something very elegant, very different. And what I had in my head when I bought this watch, I know it was impulsive, but Cartier is such a classic brand and it's been around for so long. And this was a watch I want to pass down to a little girl in my family. And I thought, maybe she'd like a Rolex better, but I thought a Cartier was classic. And so I had that in mind when I purchased it. I thought it was very feminine, very elegant. So I thought there was a gap in my collection where I had these very masculine watches. And I thought this would be a watch, this design's been around since the 80s. It's not going out of style, in my opinion, anytime soon. So I thought the Panthère would be a good watch. And again, I plan on giving it to someone when they reach a certain age. So, I'll wear it till then, enjoy it, and then hand it down.
Yeah, I think Cartier is like a really classic option. Like if you take the Cartier tank, for example, no matter how good is a new rectangle watch, people always compare that with the Cartier tank and call it an alternative to the Cartier tank.
Right.
So that classic design is not going anywhere.
Exactly. I agree.
Actually, you kind of started with Hamilton. I took some notes while you were explaining. So you started with a heritage brand, and then you moved on to Cartier as your like favorite watch number 2, which is classic and elegance. I'm curious about your number 3. What is the theme of that watch, and why is it so important for you?
So number 3, and this one would be, when I was thinking about this, I don't have a ton of watches, but when you're really, I was really, it's interesting to have to narrow it down, to a top amount. I went with my first, I would call this, everybody has their first watch purchase, and then they have their first higher end watch purchase. So this was my first higher end purchase. So this is an Omega Constellation two-tone. It's technically rose gold and stainless steel, but it has that champagne color. I don't like rose gold for myself. It just doesn't look good on my skin tone. But I just thought this was beautiful. It has the date complication and it's, automatic. I love this. I think especially every woman should have a two-tone in their collection just because of jewelry with mixing metals, between silver and gold. And this was a big step up for me in my watch collecting journey. And it was also pre-owned. So that was also a little scary for me. I had bought new watches but I did buy this. I bought this from Delray Watch. And so I did a lot of research. I think that's really important when you're buying pre-owned. This is a 2007 model. Actually, the year I graduated high school, which I didn't even realize till after. Not to say how old I am, but yes, 2007. I just thought, I just felt like, I know it sounds silly. I felt like more of a grown up once I bought that watch. I felt like it was higher end. It was a step up. And again, I love Omega. I love the brand. I love the history. And to me, that's a staple watch in the collection because you could dress it up, dress it down. And again, I think every woman should have a two-tone. It doesn't matter the brand, the cost, anything. I just think they're very versatile to have in your collection.
Yeah, definitely. Omega is like one of the watches I want to add in my collection, specifically the Seamaster 300.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, in the orange.
Oh,
It's
nice.
really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I love Omega. They have such cool stuff, and they're still coming out with cool stuff. And I actually just saw one I was at a Phillips auction event in Miami, and they had an Omega. So you're looking at all the watches. They have all these RMs, FP Journes, Pateks, and then you see an Omega in the case. You're like, why are they selling an Omega at auction? And it had been in space for an entire year, the watch. It was worn in space on a mission. So there was a lot of history behind it. So it was very collectible. And I just thought that was so cool. And just, again, I'm really into histories of brands too. So that's what draws me to some.
Cool.
By the way, guys, just as a little FYI, I accept late birthday gifts and early Christmas gifts. If you want to gift me an Omega, like I won't say no, guys. Thanks in advance.
Sounds good. We're looking Speedmaster, Seamaster, World Timer. What are we into here?
I will just create a little wish list for you guys. So
there you go. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. You can't lose anything from asking.
Yeah, I've learned something. Like my mentor always says, you don't get something if you don't ask.
Exactly. Right. So
it's always worth asking.
Yeah. And I actually, someone in the chat was looking, I actually just wore the new Seamaster, the 300. And my boyfriend has that watch with the orange hands, the newest model on the mesh bracelet, and actually went swimming with it, which I've never done with a watch. And it's very scary to do. I know they're designed for that. And like Rolex probably like goes crazy when people, take their Submariners off to go swimming. That's what they're meant for. But I really like the new Seamaster. It's really nice and with the no date. And so that's a cool watch too. I like that one.
Yeah, I know it's not a question that you were planning, but do you generally prefer a dial with the date or without the date?
So honestly, most of my watches have the date. I like a complication in the watch. So I would say I do prefer it, but it is a bit of a pain if you don't have a quick set date on your watch.
Yeah.
So like this, I will never set the date because it is so old and you have to sit here for like an hour and wind it. So, and I don't wear this every day. I do like a date feature though, because I just think it's functional and I try not to look at my phone all day. So I would prefer the date.
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason it just kills the symmetry for me of the dial.
It does. I know.
And in some watches, like I'm so used to seeing the date window at 3 o'clock, but nowadays some watches they have at 4 o'clock, some have it at 6 o'clock.
Yep.
Some watches they do a really good job of hiding the date by matching the date wheel
Right.
with the same color. But if it's like the traditional white, it just kills it for me.
Yeah.
So I generally prefer without the date.
Yeah. No, I could see that for sure.
What about you, Cactus? Do you prefer the date window or without the date?
I kind of prefer without date because Sangit, as you mentioned, I'm kind of like, I don't know, guys, if you believe in astrology, but my astrological sign is Virgo, and Virgos are obsessed with symmetry and other stuff.
Oh.
Sometimes I kind of like, this date catches my attention. I'm like, oh, it doesn't look, that symmetric. I kind of become a little obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I think without date, it kind of also makes the dial stand out more, in my opinion. Just there is nothing there, maybe a little pattern, some great colors.
Yeah, no, I could see that. And I think on especially certain models, it looks so busy. And I know this is the big controversy of the watch world, but the Land Dweller, I won't get too into what I think about that watch, but when I put on the Land Dweller, there's a lot of things I didn't like about the dial, but the date especially is just, it's too much. Like everything on that dial, not. It has the date, right? I'm not crazy. Did I make that up?
Yeah.
It has the date. Yeah.
I can't remember.
Right? I'll feel bad if it doesn't, but I'm pretty sure it did. But yes, too much on a dial is
Yeah, it does have a date with the Cyclops.
I'm like, I've tried it on. I should know this. I don't know why I doubted myself. But yeah, especially on that watch, I think the date just adds. It's too much, for sure.
Yeah, especially with the magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned about Rolex, are there any watches in your list that you want to add to your collection in the coming days, in the coming future?
So yes, and I have been on the hunt for a solid yellow gold watch. So that is next in my collection. And some of the motivation was like, how do you stop yourself from buying watches? Because I bought a lot of, like, these watches were bought in a very short period of time. I want to save for a solid gold piece. So I thought if I'm saving up for a more expensive piece, it's going to keep me from buying, a $2,000 watch, $5,000 watch, because all that adds up. So I have been looking for a 36 date, presidential, Tony Soprano watch, champagne dial, very classic. I have tried on probably over 50 to 100 of them all over the world. So I travel a lot, I go to the UK, all over. And obviously there's so many different years that you could pick from for that watch. So I'm just looking for the right one in the right condition at the right price. Gold is expensive, but you can get some of these watches pre-owned, for a decent price. And obviously down the line, there's Pateks potentially that I would like. There's some other watches, but my next one that I'm saving for is a solid gold Rolex. And I like
Yeah,
yellow.
the gold prices have gone like 4 times
Of course,
in the
because
last, in the last few months.
I know I couldn't want this a few years ago. Now I want it, but that's okay. But rose gold is the more popular gold at the time. It's hard to find a yellow gold, especially a solid yellow gold watch. So, but that Rolex to me is just very classic, and I feel like I would wear that forever. So that's going to be next.
That's a really good choice. Is there any other watches other than Rolex and Pateks that you would like to add to your collection?
I would love a Moser. So I am like one of Moser's biggest fans, but don't own their watches. So Moser was the first brand I was introduced to at Watch Time New York last year. So I walked in, went over to Moser. I had never heard of them. And they're right there. The guys that own it, they're so great. And I saw those watches and I saw the Endeavor Tourbillon Vanta Black and rose gold. And I saw that watch and I was like, wow, like someday I have to have a Moser. Like the dials, they're known for their simplicity. They don't even have their name on the dial half of the time. I just think Moser's such a cool brand, but I also feel like it's one of those brands that you have to be really comfortable in your watch collecting journey to have like maybe an $80,000 watch on your wrist, and people they'll have no idea what it is. I mean, you can wear it around London. It's safe because no one's going to take a Moser because it's not as noticeable, but I'm not at that point of like stealth wealth, but hopefully, because unfortunately I have expensive taste, why would I want like, an entry level Moser? But someday I would absolutely love to have a Moser. I think they're a great brand and I think it's like really high horology, and that's on my list too.
Yeah, that's a really good choice. I love their watches. They're very, very clean.
Yes. And they just came out with a new one they're into the Formula One, which I cannot comment on. I know nothing about cars or racing, but they just made a brand new one for a Formula One driver with the brown dial, and it's just stunning. So love that new one.
Cool. And I think the last question I have for you is, if someone was starting watch collecting right now, what is the one piece of advice you would give them based on your experience?
I would say, now people may disagree with this, but if you're brand new to watch collecting and don't know much about the whole watch world, how it works, I would say don't buy a pre-owned watch as your first watch. I think, again, it depends what you're going for. If you're diving right in and you want a Rolex or you want this, but I would suggest going new for your first watch, because it took me a while to get the knowledge I do now to purchase some of these watches. Like I wouldn't go and buy a vintage Zenith from the 60s as my first watch. Like you really need to do your research and know where you're getting your stuff from. So I started off again with a Hamilton, brand new. Like I think I got it on jomashop.com. I had learned that was like a reputable place to, buy one. And I would suggest buying new until you educate yourself. So if you're lucky enough and people in the watch world, go pre-owned right away. But I would suggest going with a newer watch to start until you figure out the ins and outs, because on the gray market, especially when you're buying older Rolexes, things like that, you really need to know where you're buying from.
Yeah, definitely, because there were a lot of fakes in the market as well. So as a newcomer, you got to be really careful, especially when you're buying a luxury watch. There are so many fakes out there,
and it's
so you have to do your own research.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to spot now. Like you have to open up the watch sometimes to know if it's a fake. So they're doing really, really good fakes now. So yeah, for sure.
Actually, I have one more question to you. What is the next watch event that you will be attending? Do you have any plans?
So next watch event. So where are we at? We're in October. It would be Watch Time New York and Wind Up Watch Fair, which happen at the same time, which I think is amazing because you get, the micro brands and then you get all the other brands. So I am going to be going to New York. Again, that was the first event I went to last year. So it'll be like a little anniversary for me. And I think it's a great event because have you guys been to Wind Up Watch Fair before? Like,
I went to the Chicago one this summer.
oh, you did? Yeah. So Wind Up is so fun. There's like hundreds of vendors in there. It's free to go. You could just walk in whenever you want. It's casual. You get to know all these brands. Christopher Ward's there. All these great brands, and I absolutely loved it. I mean, I liked Watch Time New York. It's more formal. It's a little more, I gotta put on the professional face a little bit, but still really cool. You get to see really, high horology, really cool watches. But yeah, that's where I'll be. That's where I'll be next.
Sankit, do you have any plans,
Cool.
any upcoming events in UK?
So I'm planning to attend the one in Manchester, the Manchester Watch Show. I think this is the second year, and they've gone really big this year. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I've started working with a few brands who are attending there as well. So, and one of my fellow YouTuber is launching his own brand on that day. So should be good. Should be good fun. And we've got like a YouTubers group going on WhatsApp. So it will be the first time we'll all sort of meet face to face as well.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Cool. So before we kind of wrap up, if some of the viewers want to sort of see your content, and how can they find you, and just if you can talk about what kind of I know you've started Red and Wrist recently as well. So if you want to talk about that as well, what you're sort of trying to achieve, so the viewers get a bit of idea and they can come and join and support you guys as well.
Yeah, thank you. So I started on Instagram, so you could find me, The Wrist Chick. I'm on Instagram. I try to post stuff daily there, just fun stuff. I try to make watches a little, it could get a little serious with watches. You gotta have a little bit of fun. So I try to keep it light there, keep it fun. So I'm on Instagram, and then for YouTube, my boyfriend and I, we actually met at Watch Time last year. So he's from the UK actually. So we're doing the long distance, and so we started a channel on YouTube, Red and Wrist. So you can check us out there. We do a live stream. We try to shoot for every Monday. We just started out. We've got about 7 shows done. We've talked before, you kind of figure it out as you go on YouTube. Like, I'm not a professional. This isn't my job. You just have to have fun. So we do a show every Monday, and we have guests on there a lot. So if anybody ever wants to be a guest, always send me a message. We love having different people from all over. And, you don't need to be an expert in watches. We have a lot of watch enthusiasts on there. So that's kind of the direction we're going. And we just have done so much traveling to so many events and met so many people that we figured, let's make a channel, share our experiences. All these people we've met all over the world, we're at Watches and Wonders this year, all different places. So that's kind of the direction we're going, and, doing live streams when we're at events. So we're going to be live streaming from New York. So Watch Time, Wind Up. So going to be doing content there as well.
Sounds good. And I'll put all the links in the description as well. So if you guys want to check them out, please go and support them.
Actually, guys, maybe one note, one invitation to both of you. Toronto Timepiece Show is getting bigger and bigger each year. This was the second year, and I really hope to see you guys in Toronto next year as well. myself and Sankit, we are part of the community called Watch DNA. At this year's event, we had a launch area as well, so it was kind of a cool area. Every kind of content creator, they were able to record their content, had a silent place to work. So hoping that, guys, we will meet in person in Toronto. I know that with Ristchik, I'm going to see her next week in New York as well at the Wind Up. But Sankit and Ristchik, hope to see you guys in person in Toronto as well.
Definitely. It looked amazing this year. I saw everybody's pictures and videos, and when you get sad when you're not there, I wish I was there. So I didn't realize it was only the second year they've done it. So it looked amazing. So I'll definitely try to get there this coming year.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to get there next year. Trying to arrange my work visit at the same time because my head office is in Toronto, Ontario.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, thanks for joining us today. It's been really nice talking to you and sort of looking into your collection. You've got some really, really good watches.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. So it's like we follow each other on social media, so you feel like you already know people, and so when you meet, it's like you've known each other forever, sort of thing. That's what I love about the watch community. It's everybody's so welcoming and so fun. So thank you. I appreciate you having me on. I do.
Yeah, and also give a shout when you're in the UK next time.
Definitely. Yep, I will be over there. I don't know exact dates, but I will. I'm often there, so I will let you know.
Cool.
Also,
thank you. Thanks everyone for joining as well.
One big thanks to our audience as well. I see that we have some loyal, audience following us. Thanks so much, guys. Please make sure to follow our guest Ristchik, Sankit, and myself as well. We thank you for your support.
Cool. Thanks everyone.
Thank you, guys. Ciao for now.
Have a nice rest of your day. Bye.